Hi guys, I'm Misty, and if you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. So we're just going to dive right into the video today. This is going to be a follow-up video for the Spin Wheel Picks My Makeup for the month of June. So I've been doing my best to try to use the items in the month of June. I'll be honest, I have not done too many looks with it. We're going to do another one today on camera. And that'll probably be, I think, the third look I've done for the month, just simply because there's been quite a few things going on in my personal life right now that have taken priority over, filming and makeup and things. But I don't want to kind of dwell on anything. I just want to keep, positivity and light, and try to, keep my channel like that. Plus, talking about things and dwelling on things just kind of makes it worse for me and makes it more stressful. But I'm just gonna say we're okay, we're fine. It's nothing like major. Especially considering, everything that's going on in the world right now. There's a lot more people a lot worse off than, anything that my life is going through right now. So I'll just leave it at that. But anyways, let's just move on into the video here. And first off, I'm going to start with the ColourPop Lippie scrub. This is pretty old, honestly. It's the one in a melon, which is from their watermelon collection. I've only used it maybe twice. It doesn't really smell too much like watermelon anymore. It's lost its scent, but I'm going to use it to exfoliate my lips today. I'll be honest, I think I'm going to end up decluttering a lot of these type of lippy scrubs because I've discovered I like more of a dry lip scrub. And these are not that. These are more like a jelly, not liquid. They're more like a gel texture. But they do a good job of exfoliating. Let it sit for just a little bit, not very long. I don't really have much to say about these. I mean, they work. They're just not my favorite type of lip scrub. I prefer something a little more dry than this. I'm just going to wipe that off. And if I can find price points for anything, I will either put them on the screen or in the description. Like I said, that one is pretty old at this point, so I might not be able to find a price point for it. Alright, then the next item is this C'est La Vie. I'm guessing that's how you say it. It's C-E-L-A-V-I. This is it's their Strawberry Shortcake stuff. It's the Berry Kiss lipstick kit. This is in strawberry. Now, this is not going to give any kind of tint. It does smell like strawberry. Not like strawberry shortcake, but just like fruity strawberry. And it's just, this is basically just a lip balm. I don't really see any tint to it whatsoever. But it is nice and hydrating. I did pick up the kit. It came with, I think, 4 or 5 different flavors in it. I got it at TJ Maxx, I believe it was. I think this one I got at TJ Maxx. It was either TJ Maxx or Ross for like $4.99, $5.99, so not bad. I do like it. It's something that's easy to throw in my purse and just kind of apply whenever I need a little hydration to my lips, But it's nice. It works. It's not super long lasting, which most lip balms aren't. But it is, I will say it is like that typical like old school waxy kind of lipstick lip balm. Next. So I like to apply my primer and then do my brows, right? So this is the primer that the Spin Wheel picked. This is the Wet n Wild Water Drop Primer, Wet n Wild Photo Focus Water Drop Primer base in coconut. And I hadn't used this for the longest time, and it was sitting in my drawer. And so this was the first time I opened it, and, or not today, but like when I started using it. And it smells, it doesn't smell very coconutty. It does smell a little rancid. I don't know if that's my fault because it sat too long in my drawers. You guys can let me know if you've bought this product brand new. Does it smell highly of coconut, or does it kind of have like a weird, it's not quite sour smell, but almost. I will say that I'm not in love with this primer. Let me just squirt some out on my hand here. And I will say I've only used it twice, and it's already almost empty. I'm not quite sure about the color of it either. It looks almost kind of yellow. But it claims to be a hydrating primer, and it definitely is. That is honestly the reason I don't super love it. Other than, you know, mine is probably old and expired at this point. But it's very hydrating. A little too hydrating for me because I have oily combo skin. And I feel like when I put it on, like I'm feeling greasy, honestly. Even though it's not like a silicone type feel to it, it makes me feel too hydrated. But I'm thinking if you have dry skin, I think you would probably like this one. But since I'm not a dry skin girly, it's just not for me. So it's definitely not gonna survive a declutter. Alright. Then, the other items that were picked, well, at least one item was picked with the spin wheel, was the Benefit Goof Proof Brow Pencil in shade 5, which I believe is like a warm, like black brown. I'd have to look it up again. I have the mini that I got via, I think this one I came in an Ipsy bag, and then I have another one that like I had ordered via Ulta or something like that. The full size of this is actually $27, which I think is a lot for a brow pencil. So yeah, it's not like super wow to me. Sorry for the noise. My cat's like scratching on her cat scratcher. And there's like vacuums going in the background. I don't think you can hear that, but you definitely could probably hear the cat scratcher. She's not happy that mommy is talking to a camera right now and not talking to her. So when she gets mad, she scratches her scratching box. So I'm just gonna brush up my brows like I normally do with a spoolie. I will say that the mini does not come with a spoolie. I'm not sure if the full size does or not. I have to look it up again. But it is like this angled tip. And I'm just going to apply it. It does work really well. It is a bit of a drier consistency brow pencil. I prefer something a little more emollient, not greasy, but something that's going to glide through my something that's going to glide through my brows a little easier than this. This one I have to kind of bear down a little bit with it. But as you can see, it's pretty pigmented, and it's easy to use. It's just all boils down to personal preference. If you like a little more dry brow pencil, then you'd like this one. But I like mine a little bit creamier. Now that being said, I'm not going to remove this from my collection because I do like to use it, and I do feel that it is a nice pigmentation, a nice color. Would I pay the price for the full size? No, because I think that's just way too much for a brow pencil, especially when there are drugstore options that are just as good, if not better, in my opinion. Okay, so then I take a spoolie and I go back through my brows to kind of help disperse it, look a little more natural. I do this with every brow pencil I use. Okay, so like I've told you guys before, I'm not very good at doing my brows. It's one of my least favorite things to do, just simply because I myself don't have very much brow hair to begin with, and it's very light. In the spin, okay, so in the spin wheel video, I actually accidentally skipped picking a brow gel, and I always use a brow gel on my brows, so I just picked one of my own that I've been trying to use up, which is the Beauty Crop Brow Friends Forever. This is a little mini that I got via my Ipsy Glam bags, and I do really like this. I think it's a very nice brow gel. It does get pretty gunky over time though, with product, you know, coming off your brows and going back into the clear tube, but there's really not too much you can do about that. When anything is clear, eventually it's going to end up with the pigmentation of whatever you used before back in there. But I do feel like it does a good job of making my brows look a little more laminated. Not like super up there, because I don't really like that look. I do like to kind of like form it a little bit. But it does do a good job, and it does hold throughout the day, so I definitely would recommend it. Again, I'm not sure of the price point on it. Like I said, I'll try to either put it up on the screen or down in the comments or something like that, or description. But it's definitely my go-to brow gel right now. I talked about this in another video that may or may not go up before this. I've been considering dipping my toes into doing like some project panning videos on my channel, with, you know, kind of using up things like this, you know, would already have like a head start, and like my NYX high glass, things like that, that already kind of have somewhat of a pan hit on it to where I can extend it, try to use up throughout the rest of the year. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys interested in content like that or no? Let me know in the comments down below. And I will say this brow gel is not like super sticky. It doesn't like crust or harden the brow. So that's important for me, because I hate the ones that make me feel like I have super glue on my brows. This one's not like that. Alright, so I think we're going to do my face today. Normally I would do my eyes and then all my base products, but there's not really much of fallout with the palette that was chosen. So yeah, I'm definitely going to do my face today. So let's get started with that. So first up, we have the L'Oreal Age Perfect Radiant Serum Foundation with SPF Broad Spectrum 50. This is antioxidants plus concentrated serum. So this says it is designed for mature skin, and that it is hydrating, and it is not supposed to settle in your fine lines and wrinkles, which you guys can see I have. You know, I have quite a bit of wrinkles, fine lines in my forehead, and, you know, crow's feet. You know, I am in my late 40s, so it's a given. I will say I love this foundation. I think it is gorgeous. I definitely agree it does not settle in fine lines and wrinkles. It makes me look glowy throughout the day, and the longer it wears, the better I think it looks throughout the day. I do have to set it, just simply because I'm oily combo, and this is a hydrating foundation. So I do have to set with powders in my T-zone to kind of counteract that, but it's gorgeous. I love it. It's one of my favorite foundations. And I actually found this. I lucked out and found it at my Walmart in a clearance section. Actually, no, let me rephrase. I found this foundation in a clearance section at my Walmart in a different shade, in the ivory shade, and that was way too light for me. So I passed that along to someone else, but it allowed me to try out this foundation formula, and I fell in love with the formula. I just had to get a different shade, obviously, which I got the 35 Nude Beige, and it's a good shade for me. But yeah, I looked out initially when I bought it in the clearance section, and it wasn't expired. It had like a couple months, I think, before it was going to be expired, or no? Yeah, it was a year. It still had a year left. And so I picked it up for $1 and fell in love with the actual formula. 1 second here, because I like to go over with foundation over my lips. So let me kind of wipe that balm off a little bit. But as you guys can see, it's pretty glowy, and it's not super heavy, but it does a very good job of evening out the skin tone, and it's super easy to blend. I think that has a lot to do with the fact it's a serum foundation. Serum foundations are a lot more liquidy and easier to blend, but this does not emphasize any texture on me. It does not settle in fine lines and wrinkles. It makes my skin look healthy and glowing and just beautiful all around, and it gets better throughout the day. And I did not apply my glowy green color corrector base today. I was going to, but I forgot. But honestly, with this one, it does such a good job of covering the redness for the most part. I mean, I have a lot of redness here and here, so I am going to have to add a little bit more there. But, I mean, if you're wanting a very comfortable foundation that doesn't settle into everything like that, I'd recommend this one. This is definitely one that is staying in my collection. I reached for it a lot, even before, you know, it was chose for the, you know, the spin wheel. I reached for it a lot. But it layers nicely too, as you guys can see. Just gonna add a little across the nose too. Added a little bit too much. But even though I did, it still looks nice. Alright. Now, you guys can see, very glowy, very pretty. Love it. Let's move on to concealers now, right? So I have, where is the other one? I may have to grab it. I think I left it in the drawer. So initially the spin wheel chose the e.l.f. Flawless Brightening Concealer, and this does not have enough coverage for me, so I kept it and I have been using it, but we spin the wheel, we spun the wheel again, and we got the Makeup by Mario concealer as well. So I've been pairing these together. Alright, so I have the e.l.f. Flawless Brightening Concealer in the shade Fair 10C. That was the only one they had in stock when I bought this. So it's a little pump, and it comes up through this little brush tip. That's my first pet peeve with it. I hate brush tip concealers. LA Girl has one, and good formula. The LA Girl one was good formula, but I hated the applicator. I know some people love the brush tip applicator. I'm just not someone who likes that. I prefer a doe foot on my concealers. I don't even like the NYX pump one. I don't like that either. So the other thing I have about this is I feel like it settles into everything. I don't know if that is because it is such a light shade, and when you use such a light shade and you have mature skin, it can really draw attention to, I don't like to say imperfections because we're not, no one's perfect. But any kind of flaws or anything that you have, it will emphasize. I'm just not a fan of that. I feel like it clings to textures, clings to if you have any facial hairs, fine lines and wrinkles, it just settles into it and looks kind of heavy. I mean, obviously it's not really coming off like that on camera because the lighting is, smoothing out things. But in person, I don't like this. I mean, it doesn't really have coverage either. It's more brightening. And it does brighten, but I have concealers that do a better job brightening than this one. Like the Catrice eye brightener, I love. The e.l.f. one in the tub, I love. This one is just, this is something else that's gonna not stay in my collection. But, this is letting me, by doing these videos, this is letting me use things a lot more to see, do I love it? Do I hate it? Is it just okay? And I hope in the long run that would help you guys too. Maybe if you're considering buying the products, I'm not going to tell you go buy this or don't go buy that. It's your money, you do what you want to do with it. But, I'm hoping these videos help, especially if we're in the same age range, we have the same skin type, we have the same makeup preferences, I'd rather it be me wasting my money than you. Alright, but I'm going to go over with the Makeup by Mario concealer, and this is new to me. This one is in the shade 180, and this is the Surrealskin Awakening Concealer. This shade is actually my skin shade, so it works well if I don't want brightening and I want to just kind of cover up under eye bags, dark circles, things like that. I do really like this concealer. I think it's got good coverage, and it looks nice on the skin. I'm going to kind of pull it more in here as well because you can still see my dark circles under there because the e.l.f. did not cover any of that, but the Makeup by Mario does. I like it because it doesn't sit super heavy on the skin either. It's very lightweight feeling. I am curious to pair it with the Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener. I think they would make a good pair together. But I like this one, the Mario one. The e.l.f. one, no, it's definitely going to be gone in my next declutter. Alright, let's move on to Creme bronzer. So we have the LYS No Limits Cream Contour Bronzer and the shade Motivate. This I got, I think this is the one I got in a AI Beauty box where it was all LYS products, I think. If not, I may have purchased myself or got it in Ipsy. I do like this. It is very creamy. I have one pet peeve with it. It does get super messy. You have to make sure every time that you roll it back down, otherwise it's going to get all over the lid, and then the lid transfers to this. And even with rolling it down, it still tends to do that, just not as bad. I will say this one is probably more of a contour shade for me than a bronzer shade. It's not quite cool tone enough to be just a contour. It does have a little bit of warmth to it on me. So it's kind of like that happy neutral medium for me. But I do typically go in with a more warm powder bronzer after using this, but the formula is very nice, very creamy, and you guys will see it's very easy to blend, whether you do it with a sponge or a brush. I usually use a stippling brush when I'm wanting to do it in a hurry, blend it out in a hurry. Then I'll use the sponge. You guys can see that was quick, right? And it looks nice. It's very flattering on the skin. I do love the ease of the blendability of it. There are some cream bronzers that are hard to blend. They're a little more firm. This one is very emollient, very creamy, which makes it very easy to blend. And it does have that nice point to it because of the kind of triangular shape that LYS does with all their products, kind of like their signature shape. Because it has that point, you are able to draw down your nose with it pretty easy. So that is a nice feature as well. Alright, there we go. See, it's a little warm, but not super warm on me. So it's, I guess you would say it leans more neutral on me. Okay. So, still keeping with cream products, right? I'll see if I can use this. This is kind of not really going to go with the powder bronzer that I want to use, but I'm going to try and incorporate it. It's the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blush in the shade Isla del Sol, and I had not used this yet. But it is a glowy blush, and I do use the actual e.l.f. Putty blush brushes with it. You know, it looks like it could possibly be intense in here. At least in person, it looks like it's like a brighter orange. It's looking lighter on camera, but it's actually more of like a bright coral orange shade. And, you know, just go in with the brush. But you guys can see it's a very nice, I don't want to say subtle because you can see it. It does have pigmentation. It is a very nice everyday blush in my opinion. And like I, said, if you like a glowy look and you don't want to use highlighter, this would take that step out for you because it has a nice glow. It's that super nice glowy blush look to it. But I really like to drape my blushes. So that's what I do. And I feel like this shade specifically is really nice for summer to kind of give off that not sunburn per se, but like sun-kissed look. And I just kind of like to go like this because I like to emphasize my rounder cheeks. I know most people don't, but I like to. I think it looks cute on myself. But yeah, I like this one. I think it's nice. Is it one that is like, I'm not going to say it's one I'm going to reach for all the time, but when I want this specific kind of shade, I want to skip highlighter, which I'm not going to do today. I'm going to do highlighter, but yeah, I think this would be a good option for this. Now, like I said, it's not like wow pigment in your face like a lot of blushes now. So there is that. But yeah, I like the formula. I think it's nice. So let's move on to liquid highlighter now. And it chose the ColourPop Tangled. It's from the Tangled collection. It's the Dewy liquid highlighter, and I See the Light. This is a very nice kind of golden champagne shade, and I'm just gonna tap it once here, and once here, and it is a nice little sparkle. I'm gonna grab a stippling brush if I can find one. Use a ColourPop stippling brush. It's the F4, and I'm just gonna spread that right along my cheek. It's not real glittery. It looks like it might be when you first put it on, but it's not. It actually comes off with a nice kind of golden, little bit of a pinky sheen to it. That I pick up, but it does lean very golden, but it is more of a sheen and glow than it is a glitter, which is my preference. I'm not a huge sparkly glittery highlighter person, so, but if you are, yeah, this is not really that. You think it would be like looking at in here, you know, and seeing like the reflection, but it's more of a sheen. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, this eye is wanting to water right now for some reason. Alright, so now we're going to get started on the powder products, okay? So, bronzers. So I have two options for bronzers. What I might do is I'll go in with the one that's lighter, and then I'll go in with a kind of darker one afterwards. So the bronzer options, the single bronzer that it chose was the ColourPop Pressed Powder Bronzer in Coconut Beach. And you guys can see this is pretty well loved. See if I can show you. It's pretty well loved. I've used it for a long time. I do typically have to pair this with the bronzer, the other bronzer in that collection, which I think is Talk to the Palm, because that one's a little too dark and this one's a little too light, but paired together they are nice on me. Now this one itself tends to lean more neutral on me, so if I wanted to do just, you know, natural looking bronzer for the day, this would definitely be one to reach for me. I, however, like something that's a little more sun-kissed on myself, so that's why I tend to go darker with my bronzers. But it is a very nice formula. It is very easy to blend. I have never had any problems with it. You guys can see. It's, you know, very nice. Here, and then we're going to do a little quick down the nose. But yeah, this has been in my collection for a while, and it's going to stay in my collection as long as it is still working and pairing nicely with other bronzers. Okay. Now the other option I had, and this was the face palette that was chosen, This is the Physicians Formula Saturday Detention. This is the Volume 2. I do have Volume 1 as well. Volume 2 is just a bit deeper, but honestly not much deeper. They really need to work on that with their shade ranges. So I use this bronzer right here. Unless I want a glowy bronzer, then I'll use this one, but I have to be a little careful with this one because this one is a bit darker. But I am going to go in with this one, which is the Athlete. And I'm just going to go over what we already did. And this is a lot warmer than the ColourPop one. You guys can kind of see the warmth, whereas this one's a little more cool. Because I do want to look bronzed. Bring it down my neck and in behind my ears, and then I like to kind of attach right here as well. I'm going to go in under the lip and on the nose. Okay, so nice. I like both of those. I think they both perform nicely. They're very easy to use. They're very blendable. Like I said, you know, one's warmer than the other. One is more neutral of a bronzer every day, and one is more of a sun-kissed bronzy look on me. But paired together, they work very nicely. Alright, so blushes, powder blushes. So obviously, we have, of course, the blushes in here, right? Which I've used multiple times. I love the blushes in here. So you have this matte one, and then you have this kind of glowy one here. I love to just mix those together and use them. I'm not going to do that today because I have already done that in another look. And by the way, I will pop up some of the looks that I did throughout this video. I'll probably pop them up towards the end, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not going to use that one today since I've already used it. I lost my train of thought there. But I am going to use this one because I want to do a pinky eye look today, hopefully, with the palette. I haven't done that yet. But this is the ColourPop Just My Pluck Pressed Powder Blush. And this is just a nice mauve-y purple blush. I think it's going to look very nice with the look I want to do. I just need to grab a blush brush. I'm going to go with the Singe Beauty F06. It's a very nice, it's very small, but it does pick up the product nicely. I'm going to tap that off. And I'm just going to go over my cheeks. And this is a very cool tone mauve. I think this is nice for an everyday blush. Like I said, I know this doesn't really go with the corally orange blush that I put on underneath. Normally I wouldn't pair those together, but we're going to do it today. I'm just layering. This is definitely a blush you could just sit and layer and layer and layer and layer and layer. Because it's not overly pigmented. But it looks very nice. Bit on my nose, a little bit on my chin, and a little up here on my forehead, just to kind of tie everything together. Yeah, I like that. It looks very nice. Just a nice flush of a mauve purple. Okay. Again, you know, been in my collection for a while now. It's going to stay in my collection. I love it. It's a very nice blush. It's pretty old at this point, just like the bronzer is, but it's still working on me. They don't smell rancid or anything, so I'm going to keep using it. You know, you choose what you want to do. You know, obviously, yeah, they tell you not to use expired makeup, and these are definitely expired, but I'm someone that, especially with powders, now creams and liquids are a different story. Those, honestly, I need to get better at. It's not keeping in my collection past the expiration date. I really need to get better at that. But powders, I don't really mind so much. But again, do as I say, not as I do. Alright, so we have a powder highlighter, and this is the ColourPop Supershock highlighter in the shade Coastin. This is from their Coral collection. And I've told you guys multiple times, I hate these big clamshell containers. They are just not my favorite. Like this one already, it doesn't clasp like it's supposed to. It always comes undone, and most of them end up broken before. Sometimes they're already broken when they get to you because they're just so flimsy, but there is that. Let me find a highlighting brush. I'm going to go in with the Lunar Beauty LBF 6 brush. And, you know, I've had this highlighter for a while. And I'm just swirling in it, just mixing. I'm going to tap off a little bit. I don't use it too much. And I honestly know why now. Because this is a very sparkly highlighter. It is very glittery, which is not my favorite. It does leave glitter specks on my face throughout the day. You guys can't really see it. It looks more like a sheen on camera, but it's not in person. It is very glittery. It is very... It's not super chunky, but it's definitely a glitter highlight. It's pretty, but I don't like to have to be picking glitter off my face throughout the day, and this is definitely one I have to do that with. So most likely, I don't think this is going to survive my next declutter, sadly. I did buy this second hand off of like Macari, I think it was either Poshmark or Macari, because I got into a bad collection mentality where I was like, I need to have everything that was in that collection. So like I went and bought, you know, highlighters and things from old collections and old lip products, and they were new, but they weren't used. Let's just put it that way. But since then, I have gotten myself out of that mentality, and I'm like, if I'm not using it and it's just sitting in a drawer going bad, I don't want that to be a thing. I want that to actually go to someone who's going to use it. So I pass it on to family members and friends that I know are going to enjoy it, instead of just sitting here not getting used, because it's not my favorite type of formula. So if you like glittery, I mean, obviously this isn't available anymore, so it's not like you can buy it unless maybe you find it secondhand like I did, but it's, you know, it's expired. It's from an old collection. But yeah, it's a glittery highlight, not my favorite, so that's all I'm going to say about it. Okay, so I think we're down to powders for my face. Yeah. So we have, where's the other one? There it is. Okay. So we have two powders that were rolled in. We have the finishing powder from Sophia and Mabelle. And this is a nice finishing powder. I'm actually quite surprised at it. Now it's not glowy like I like, but it's not bad. It's actually a really nice finishing powder. And then we also have the Ofra Pressed Powder Oil Control. Now, I told you guys I wanted to try this some more, and I have been trying it some more, and I don't like it. It does control the oil a decent amount, I will give it that, but it cakes. I tried to use it under my eyes, which I'm going to do today. I'm going to show you how I used it. I've used it with a brush, I've used it with a powder puff. It does a little bit better with the brush on my mature skin than it does with a powder puff. Powder puff makes it a lot more heavy. But here's the thing, if I don't use a powder puff and I only use a brush, it doesn't do as good of a job setting down and controlling the oil. But if I use a powder puff, then it looks too heavy. So yeah, that's just a big pet peeve for me, and I'm gonna pass this along to my next declutter, because yeah, I have much better powders. I don't have to worry about that being a thing. Alright, so the first thing I'm gonna do is gonna use it under my eyes. So first I'm gonna just kind of tap out under here with a beauty sponge in case there's any creasing. And then I have a little mini Catrice triangled powder puff, and I just go in. And see, this is what scares me about it. It's very like stark white as well. I'm gonna tap it on my hand first, and then I'm gonna go in under the eyes, and right away it's very heavy. It does blur. It is nice for that, you know, you guys can see it's blurring, but it's very heavy. It wants to settle in everything under here, and it just makes my under eyes look very old, very crepey in person. I'm gonna do the other side. And as you can see, you know, I don't use that much on there, but it's still enough to make it look not good. Alright, then I have a bigger version. I'm going to go in with, and I'm going to tap on my hand first, and then I'm just going to go across. I tried it multiple times, different foundations, different concealers, and it's even leaving a bit of a white cast right here in the middle of my forehead. So yeah, just not my cup of tea, unfortunately, because it is nice for oil control throughout the day, but yeah, it just doesn't look good. It makes my base that I was loving, glowy and nice, look dull, crepey, and settles everywhere. So yeah, the last thing I want to do is have a base that looks really good and then just ruin it with one product. Sadly, that's what this does to me. And it doesn't matter what foundation I'm using, it does it to all of them. So yeah, this is definitely not going to stay in my collection. Alright, but then we have the Sophia and Mabelle one, and I like to use these finishing powders with a big fluffy brush. So that's what I'm going to do. I just go in and swirl in there, and then I take it and just dust across. Now, you guys know I'm picky about my finishing powders because I love the NYX High Glass finishing powder because it is glowy, and I love to, you know, put the glow back on my skin after I've went through with, you know, all my powders and stuff that tend to mattify for oil control. Now, if you're wanting one that is not super glowy, I do think this one is a nice one. I think it does do a good job of like helping look a little more together, a little more, I don't want to say blurred. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to tell you right now because when I pair it with this, it makes it not look good. But when I use it on its own, it actually looks nice. Or when I pair it with, you know, like my favorite loose powders and stuff, it looks nice. But yeah, so that's my opinion on that one. Setting spray. Alright, so setting spray. So the Spin Wheel picked the Wet n Wild Care Bears Get Through the Night setting spray. I have not used this, and I've honestly been afraid to because it does have a very, very, very strong fragrance, which concerns me because you guys know I've told you I'm sensitive to stuff. So we're gonna try it once. Let me kind of pull this up here, and we're gonna pull it out here and spritz. It does have like a cheap spritzer, so it does kind of like come out in squirts. And I can smell the fragrance. Just gotta kind of tap in. Yeah, I definitely am seeing water droplets, and I don't really see it doing much. I'm guessing, you know, it says get through the night, so okay, so it says bedtime can wait. This lightweight lavender scented setting spray locks makeup in place and keeps shine at bay. Okay, enriched with niacinamide to help skin look and feel more resilient while minimizing the appearance of pores or a flawless makeup finish. Yeah, it's not doing anything for the pores whatsoever. So that scent is lavender that I'm smelling. So I would say it's probably mattifying since it wants to keep the shine at bay and last all night or all day. Yeah, I got better setting sprays, and since it is so highly fragranced, I'm not going to keep this in my collection. I'm going to pass it along. So, yeah, I mean, it's cute. It's Care Bear collection. I did use the other spray that came with it and didn't have an issue with that one, but it was not super scented like that one is. Alright, so let me remove this now. Okay, so let's go on to the eyes now that we have completed the face. So the eyeshadow palette that was picked was the Dominique Cosmetics Essential Palette. I got this in an Ipsy Icon box, and it is very nice. It's very luxe feeling, very heavy, but it is a very good, like, everyday palette, in my opinion. Very neutral, heavy. You've got like your pinks, which is what I'm going to work with today. So let's see here. I did kind of a warm neutral look with this one day, which I'll try to pop up a picture of the look, and then I did more of a everyday look, I believe it was. So today we're going to do a pinky look. Again, I'm going to try to pop up pictures to show you guys. And the single shadow that was picked was this ColourPop Supershock in Monkey Business. It is kind of dried out. I didn't try to revive it or anything because I did get pigmentation off of it, but it was very light. I don't think this is supposed to be that light, but I did get a very nice, like, summery light orange look out of it, which paired very nicely with that orangey ColourPop, or e.l.f., not ColourPop, with the orangey coralish e.l.f. Putty blush. They looked really nice together, so I'll try to pop up a picture of that look on here. Hopefully I remember to take a picture. I was kind of busy that day, that's why I did a simple look. But I think today what we're going to do is we're going to focus on doing a pinky look, and we're not going to bother to use this today because it's just not going to go with what I want to do. But the eye primer that the wheel picked was initially the NYX Glitter Primer, and this is a tacky primer, and I only ever use this to make my shimmers pop. So I will say I like the formula, but I have gone through, or I shouldn't say gone through, I have bought 3 tubes of this, and every single time something happens to the tip. The first time, I thought it was my fault. I twisted it off and broke it, right, when I put on the cap. Second time, the end popped off. The third time, I squeezed this, and now it comes out through here instead of through the top. So I think there's a faulty design in their tubes, because that should not happen every single time I have one, in different ways. And I'm not super rough with my makeup, so that's annoying me. So I think I'm going to stick to my Bella Beauty Bar Shimmer Stays from now on. I'm going to have to squirt this into a tub like I did the other two and use it up that way, so that I don't waste my money and I still use it. But yeah, I think they should really change into a different packaging for this, or at least fix the packaging. But since that's a tacky primer, I did spin again and I got the Melon eyeshadow primer. It's a Longwear shadow base, and my first initial thought with this is I didn't think I was going to like it, but I've actually quickly fell in love with it, and I like it. I think it does really well. It actually gives a nice little base to the eyeshadow, so we're going to put that on today. My eyes is just watering real bad with allergies today. So hopefully we don't tear off everything I do with the eyes today. And I'm just going to do what I always do. I usually grab the Singe Beauty or a ColourPop concealer type brush, and I use it to spread out the eye primer. This is one of my favorite ones though, because it does it pretty quickly, because it's a pretty good size. And if you don't know, Singe Beauty is Angelica Nyqvist on here. That is her indie brand. I pretty much own everything from that brand right now, except for the bags, just because the bags were not my style, not my cup of tea. But you know, more power to anyone who loved the style of the bags. But I do own everything else, and all the products are very nice. Alright, so let's get started with the eye look. So first things first, I want to go in with a big fluffy brush. I'm going to go in with the Lunar Beauty LBE1, and I'm going to set down that primer with the shade Positivity. It's just like this kind of cream colored matte. You don't have to do that. I just like to do that with some primers, and I think it helps with the blend with some eyeshadow palettes, but you don't have to set down your eye primers. There's minimal kick up in the pan with that shade. Alright, now I'm going to go in with something a little more tapered of a blending brush. And I'm going to go into, that first shade was Positivity. Now I'm going to go in with this kind of mauve-y pink shade called Melon, right here. That in the crease. And you guys can see, very easy blend, super effortless. This is definitely a palette you could just grab on a quick day, grab 2 shades, matte and shimmer, and be done with your eye look. I'm just going to do both eyes at the same time. Normally I'll do one eye and then do the other eye, but today I'm going to do both. And I'm just going in and layering to reach the pigmentation I want, because these are very soft shades. Which is what I'm going for. I want a soft eye look. Okay. And I'm just going to go back in with that previous brush. I'm not adding anything to it. Just kind of go over top that shade, blend some more, soften it up. Nice, very pretty. Now I'm going to clean off that smaller paper blending brush on my switch, and I want to add, I'm going to go in and add a little bit of this brown here, which is True Self. Just a little bit. I want to add kind of on the outer edge here. On both sides. Again, still keeping it nice and soft. Nice. Alright, now I'm going to go in with that NYX Glitter Glue. I'm going to attempt to see if I can show you kind of what it does. I have it going everywhere. It's coming out right there. I don't know if you guys can see. That is so annoying. Alright, so I'm going to grab a flat brush. I'm going to grab the Game Beauty EO5, I believe it is. I'm just going to kind of scrape along there to grab that primer. And I'm just going to tap it on both my lids, across. I like to go on my finger with shimmers. I just feel like they're more impactful that way. And I want to go into Grateful. This kind of like purpley shimmer. I'm going to go in with my pinky. It's almost like a gray purple. I'm going to put that right here. Very pretty. These do feel kind of hard pressed. That shimmer does, at least. But it is very pretty. Okay. And then I'm going to clean off my finger. And then I want to go into Pretty Kind. This shimmer right here. Nice. Just to kind of brighten up that inner part. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Very nice. Alright, now I'm going to go in with that blending brush, just kind of sweep across everything. I do have some fallout from the shimmers, mainly that light shimmer. I'm just going to take this brush and kind of do my best to brush it off. Alright. Now, we are going to use the eyeliner that was chosen. And the eyeliner is from ColourPop as well. This is a cream gel liner in the shade Calabasas, and this is a metallic formula. It's basically a metallic pink, a metallic light pink, which I think is going to go nice with this. You guys can see, very metallic, very bright. You guys know I love ColourPop's cream gel liners. They're one of my favorites. I use them quite often. I have several shades at this point. So yeah, they're definitely one of my favorites. Definitely a staple in my collection. The eyeshadow palette I love. Super easy, very luxe feeling, very blendable. You can get very pretty like neutral, natural looks. You can go a little darker if you want. With the black you can go a little smoky down here, you know, warmer, cooler, pinky. Very nice, like everyday palette in my opinion. Very good, like staple palette, especially if you are more of a neutral lover. Like the primer, like the way it performs, just hate the packaging, sadly. Same with the Melani. Well, not same, but I actually really love the Melani primer. I think it's very nice, and I think it does a good job of gripping the eyeshadow and making it adhere to your eyes. Okay. Now, let's see. We have a couple more things, but not much. So I had a lipstick and a lip liner that is still in my purse. It's the Manny and Laura Lee Moira lipstick, and the lip liner was a Glamlight Barbie from the Glamlight Barbie collection. It's the blue labeled one. Those are very nice, very a good pair together. I have used it several times in the other looks, so you'll see it in those looks. But today, I actually, since we did a pinky eye look, I actually want to do the other lip combo that was chosen, and it is the ColourPop Lippie Pencil in X Factor. This is like a berry tone lip liner, and then the Fenty, what is it called? The Fenty Velvet Liquid Lipstick in Sea Sweetheart. Now, the only thing with this, I told you guys, I got this in an Ipsy box, and this was supposed to be a replacement for something else that I guess they ran out of. It's a nice formula, but it does stink. I'm a little concerned that it was expired, or I don't know. You guys let me know if you use these. Do they just smell like that? Because I have noticed that they have been on sale, I think at Ulta. It was either Ulta or Sephora. I noticed that they were on sale. So let's go ahead and do that, and then I'll go in with my mascara. And I did attempt to try to do an eyeliner with this Twilight ColourPop that was chosen in Coven, and it's chunky, so I think this is just gonna go in the trash because I could not make it work, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm sorry, unfortunately wasn't able to use that in anything because of that. But anyway, let's get back to the lips. So let's go with the lip liner first. This is a pet peeve of mine with the lip liners with ColourPop. They're sharpenable, but they want to fall out. You have to push them back in. That's annoying. But that is my only pet peeve with the ColourPop liners, because they are super creamy. and very nice to use. As you guys can see, this is an intense shade. It's definitely not a shade I reach for. But that's what these videos are for, is to get you out of a comfort zone. That's where I'm going to leave that. Now let's go in with the Velvet Liquid Lipstick from Fenty. It's definitely turning kind of chunky down in there. That's definitely not good. Yeah, I think this is going to go in the garbage. But for the sake of the video, let's go in, kind of fill in. It is a nice, like, soft, velvety texture. Like a moussey texture, but yeah, that's definitely not normal. That's chunky now. Not happy that Ipsy sent me that. I'm gonna go back in with this because I kind of lost it in some sections. Alright, nice. Okay, that's a nice little combo. I think it went well together. It's pretty. And the gloss that I got was the Lunar Beauty gloss. Let me go grab it. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, and I grabbed all three. So I grabbed the Lunar Beauty Laura Lee Los Angeles lipstick in Moira. Love this. I think it's a very pretty pinky nude shade. Love it. Very nice. Very nice formula. Then the lip liner is Glamlight Barbie, Malibu Barbie collection. Doesn't have a shade name. But it is this nice, like, dark brown. It's almost got like a purple hue to it. But they do pair nicely together. Definitely keeping those. And the gloss. The Lunar Beauty lip gloss in the shade Ella, and it is a very nice, sparkly, clear, glittery gloss. Now, since it is clear, I do not want to use the doe foot and get pigment back in and then mix it. So what I do is I have disposable doe foots that I have in those cases, and I'll just stick the doe foot down in there. Sometimes I'll just take it off the other doe foot, but I want more on, so. We're just going to apply. So we have a velvety matte, and now we have nice sparkly gloss. Very pretty. I need to change out my battery, guys. It's blinking. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, battery is changed out, and the last item we have to use is the mascara, and this is the Essence Call Me Queen Dramatic False Lash Effect Mascara. I am going to curl my lashes, and then we're going to go in with the mascara. mascara. Essence makes very good mascaras, and they are relatively cheap. They're a good drugstore option. This one has like that silicone wand on it. It's not super pokey. And again, like I said, I don't have the best lashes to test mascara on. But I do like the effect I get with this one. It is nice and pigmented, and it does give good length. You guys can see mascara, no mascara. Okay. So since this does have a bit of lengthening to it, I don't want to use it on my bottom lashes because I don't prefer that. So I am going to grab, I don't like this Bobbi Brown mascara on my top lashes, so I've been utilizing it for just my bottom lashes so that I didn't waste my money on it. It looks decent under the bottom lash for what I want. So I'm going to throw on some accessories, we'll do something with my hair, and I'll be right back and we'll kind of talk a little bit. Alright, I'm back, and I thought I would do a little blonde today. I'll try to link this down below. It's like a hat that is has a wig attached to it, but it's very nice for like quick and easy. Earrings, if you're curious, they're these little like strawberry smoothie type things from Claire's, and this is the Britney Spears little flip phone necklace from Hot Topic. If they're still in stock, I'll link them down below. But yeah. Alright, so let's talk about the products. I think it's super cute, very nice, like pinky, mauve-y look, all very cohesive, very happy with how it turned out. Let's talk about the products though. So, okay, some of, I'd say my top 3 favorites would have to be from this video. Definitely this foundation. It's definitely in my top 3. Definitely the Lunar Beauty gloss. Love mayonnaise glosses. They are so good. Very pretty. And what else? The other one that I would choose as a top over everything else. You know, I'd probably have to say this, the LYS Bronzer Contour Stick. I think it's very nice. I love the fact that it's very easy, very beginner friendly to use. Like I said, my only thing with it is how messy it gets, but I can put up with that because the product is good. Now my bottom 3 from this video, I would definitely have to say the number 1 bottom for me is this Ofra Oil Control Powder, pressed powder. I don't like the way it looks. Makes everything look cakey and dry. So yeah, not a fan of that. It's definitely my number 1. Don't like bottom. Do I have anything else? Oh yes, definitely this. Again, I don't know if that's because mine expired and it stinks now, but I definitely don't like how hydrated it makes me feel, but that's more of a personal preference, like I said, because I don't have dry skin. But I feel like if you have dry skin, you're gonna love this because it's very hydrating. So what else? Is there anything else that I did not like that much? Honestly, not really. Oh, yes. the highlighter. I don't like the glittery highlighter. It is pretty if you like a glittery highlighter, but I don't like a glittery highlighter. So unfortunately, this is going in the top bottom for me. On the top 3 bottoms for me, so yeah. But it's not like ColourPop doesn't have other formulas that I really enjoy, so there's that. And now I know I can pass that on to someone else when I do my full-on declutter, and who will probably love it, you know? My trash is someone else's treasure is how I view that. As far as anything that's just like, nah. Not really. I mean, we have the faulty packaging on the glitter primer, and the ColourPop Graphix liner in Coven that I didn't even get to use. It's already dried out and clumpy, so there's that. But other than that, most of the products I really enjoy and will be staying in my collection. But yeah, I really hope you guys like this style of video. I know I'm really enjoying it. I mean, the first video didn't get as many views as I want, but I'm hoping as I do this a little more and follow-up videos, you guys will enjoy it more and it'll get more views. But if anything, if not, then you know, I'm getting to really fill out my collection a lot more, and I like to do that on video, so it helps me. And I get some, you know, content and looks and stuff out of it. So yeah, you guys let me know what you guys think. Do you own any of these products? You hate them, you love them. Are there any you want to pick up now that you've seen the video? Are there any that you're like, whoa, stay away now that you've seen the video? Before I go, one more that I'm kind of like on is the Care Bears Wet n Wild one. If you don't mind your setting sprays having like a pretty potent scent, then you would like this with the lavender scent. But yeah, just not for me. Lavender, right? Yes, lavender. I keep wanting to say lilac in my mind, so sometimes I'm afraid that's what's coming out of my mouth. But overall, I think this was a pretty good little video to do and test out items in my collection without really having to buy anything new per se. So yeah, again, let me know what you guys think about this style video. Let me know if there are any types of content that you are not seeing on my channel that you would like to see, and we'll see if I can make that happen. Obviously, it's my channel, so I'm gonna have the right to, you know, say no on certain things and things like that. But as long as, you know, your requests are reasonable and you're not asking me to do questionable things, most of the time I'll be able to do it. Like I said, I've been doing full face of series. I try to focus on affordable brands, especially right now. So let me know if there are any brands you specifically want to see with that. But yeah, I think I'm going to end it here, and stay tuned. I'm going to be posting and doing the video for the spin wheel picking my makeup for July, so stay tuned to that. And I'll try and link it, you know, up here in the cards or something, and down in the description box for you guys if you are interested in watching it as well. Okay, but I'm asking if you guys would please like and subscribe down below. It really helps me out. I'm doing my best to try to reach 500 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm at 312, I believe, now as I'm doing this video, and I really thank you guys who are subscribing and are new here, and I really thank you guys who have been here since the beginning. But yeah, it really helps me. I really appreciate it. It doesn't cost you guys anything. It's free. You just need an email to sign up and subscribe. So yeah. Alright, until next time, guys. Bye.